I would love to have somebody eat this, try this, see what they think about it. And I have time for just 3 questions. And whoever has the best question of those 3 questions will get this dish.
I have one.
So who has a question? Sir, what's your question?
Different types of basil. Chef Megan earlier talked about Thai basil. And what do you like about different types of basil?
That's a great question. The question of different types of basil. And an earlier chef talked about Thai basil, which has a little bit of peppery component to it. There's purple basil, oval basil, red basil. There are hybrid basils, basil spearmint. It just really depends on what you want. Sometimes you want a basil because it's going to stand up to the food. Other times you want a basil that's going to be a little more mellow and it won't overwhelm the wine that it's being served with. So all types, it's not just basil, but many different types. And it's about experimenting with flavor. Sometimes you might have because Thai basil is very sharp. So you might just use a little bit of it. But then you're having a big red wine, so you use a lot more of it. So, who wants to compete with that question? Okay, over here.
Can you ever be a good chef if you're a non-taster?
Can you ever be a good chef if you're a non-taster? No.
Well, I better go now.
No, you can be a good technician if you're a non-taster. You can be you can adequately prepare food. You can get great, clean, fresh food products. But in terms of really being at the level of when we think of the great chefs, I mean, part of it, it's all about the palate. It's like, can you be a great winemaker if you never tasted wine? Well, you can grow wine in the right environment, and you can put care into it. You can pick it at the right time and make love to the product. But if you never taste it, you really know what it is. And yeah, I guess you could make good food and it would be fine. But honestly, you've got to taste what you're doing. I actually think it's more important to taste than to fillet the fish or make the ice cream or saute the sweetbreads. I mean, those are very important things, and technique is paramount to anything. But if you're not tasting it saying, oh my gosh, this is yummy, the only way you can ever serve food as a chef is that you have to love what's there. You have to say, this is so delicious, I can't wait to give this to somebody else. Don't tell me you don't eat the food that you make.
My palate, I don't think, is sensitive.
Well, then that's the whole idea about tasting. It's like Larry Bird or Michael Jordan or Magic Johnson standing there shooting free throw after free throw, and they do that for hours and hours and hours. And finally, after years of that, they can just do it with their eyes closed, and the ball goes right in the bucket. It's like somebody playing the violin over and over, or reading a great book, or whatever it is. Suddenly, everything it's like you do it second nature. So
Keep tasting.
keep tasting. All right. Final question, right here.
Do you develop the menu first if you're cooking at home for a dinner party, or do you develop the wine menu first?
That's a great question. When you're cooking at home for a dinner party, do you develop the menu first or the wine program first? That can happen either way. Sometimes you might have friends over there, we're bringing the wine, and we're going to bring over a certain California Chardonnay and a French Burgundy or a Spanish Rioja wine. So sometimes you don't have, food and wine pairing isn't a higher science, but with a little bit of tweaking, the two things can go together quite well. I think it's best to sort of take the food and adjust it to the wine. So you might have an idea. We're going to have a salmon terrine to start. We're going to have a little bit of asparagus soup with potato dumplings next, and then we're going to have some roasted squab. And we have these wines, and you can always adjust the dishes to go with the wines.
So do you tell the company that, or you just do it yourself?
I think, do you tell the company that or not? I think the company should just be very, very blessed and fortunate that they're being invited over to your home. It's like Humphrey Bogart in The Maltese Falcon. When he spoke to Peter Lorre, and he went like bam, bam, bam across his face, and he said, why did you do that? And Humphrey Bogart said, when you're slapped, you'll take a blanket.
There you go.
So it's kind of like that. You are the winner of this dish. So you get the first dish. Now, the next preparation features pretty much the same components. Pine nuts, tomato, the grain, in this case the Israeli couscous,